So my name is Mickey Gaminol. I am Paula Williams' son, and I am the founder of Gaminol Tutors, LLC, and I'm building my tutoring company. And as far as The Speed of Trust goes, I thought it was a really good book. It sounds like the general idea is basically that trust has economic impact. So how much trust a company has in itself and from others is going to directly affect its bottom line, how much money it's producing and how much power it has, really, in the grand scheme of things. So that's my thoughts.
Cool. Paula Williams, ABCI, Mickey's mom, and John's wife, and Jeremy and Debbie's hopefully now good friend that they take out to eat whenever we're in St. Louis. And anyway, so 1 point and then carry on, or we just introductions now?
1 point, yeah, 1 point and then carry on. Why not?
Okay, cool. Page 304. There is a matrix in there of basically not trusting anybody to being incredibly gullible, and finding the right balance between those things. Sometimes I wonder myself, am I trusting this person too much? Am I going overboard? Am I messing this up? And so that matrix to me is incredibly helpful to just check myself and go, is there something about this person that I am distrusting because of some superficial reason, or is there really a reason to distrust this person? So I think that was a really helpful thing for me because I have to trust people a lot in order to market for them effectively, because anybody that we do business with could really mess us up. Just having our name associated with theirs. So that matrix is really helpful for me.
Cool. We'll circle around back to it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
Well, I was going to talk about 2 points, but now that I'm down to one, I said,
you can do two.
John Williams, I do as everybody knows, the back-end work for Paula, and she's the rock star in this company. Page 149, they have all the different religions and what they say with respect to how you treat other people.
I knew you'd like that one.
Well, when I went to business school, somehow or another they brought that thing up, and I was sitting in the front row, and I said, well, I think it's bullshit. And I still do. It says, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That's the Christianity version. And the prof looked at me, and the class took a great intake of breath. And he said, well, what would you say? I said, I think you need to treat people as they want to be treated. There's a huge difference. And he says, and how do you know how they want to be treated? He said, you got to talk to them and trust them. So you start your trust here, and when during the conversation, it works up or down based on what you find out. And the prof took a step back and looked at me and said, we got a freaking genius here in the front row. Really made me feel bad. But we had a lot of conversation after that.
Well, but what makes that interesting is if everybody treated people the way you wanted to be treated, Mr. Williams, everybody would be a lot more, I'm going to say, honest and blunt than they are in real life. And so that would not make the world a better place necessarily.
Well, no, I mean, I like to know where I stand, and I don't like all this dancing around with words. I mean, tell it straight. That's right. That's where I live. Right.
And that's why you have to treat other people the way they want to be treated, not the way you want to be treated, or else you would never have any friends.
All right, we'll come back to it. Let's keep going with introductions and then 1 point, and not jump too fast. So go ahead, and even if you didn't read the book, whatever thoughts you have on trust, no stress. So go ahead, Jeremy.
Jeremy Cox. I'm the principal of JetValues Jeremy. Known Debbie longer than I've known Paula and John, and I just met you today. So I have not read the book. I know nothing about the book. I just wanted to hop on because I like you guys, and I had time to articulate and chat. But anyway, trust, interesting thing. I think a lot of companies, people that run companies, fail on trust because they micromanage instead of letting their employees get on with it. If they would trust in their employees, they'd be a lot more successful. And I've got more points to say on trust, but you said one thing, so I'm going to shut up.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, Jeremy. Killing it. Sweet. Go ahead, Debbie.
Hi, I'm Debbie Murphy. I'm a VP of Marketing with JetBrokers, and I've known Jeremy for, I have no idea how long we've known each other.
1999.
Decades, yes. And so my point would be how trust comes from, they have like the 4 cores of credibility. Starts with yourself, and it goes out in, what is it? To, actually, there's 5 waves: self, relationship, organizational, market, and societal. So it starts with, being honest yourself, and then building relationships out. And I thought that was.
And that's a cool graphic too that they use when they're using the waves, because waves is the exact word they're using, where they have like the droplet to represent the individual, and then everything else echoes out. So great points all around. So yeah, I feel like talking about like my statement, basically trust influences your bottom line. That's kind of the premise of the book. So we don't necessarily need to get into that and debate it as much. But let's talk trust matrix. Let's go back to the trust matrix on 304. Exactly. And in this matrix, you can see it's just like a four panel thing. Bottom left is going to be worst case scenario. So that's no trust, which results in indecision. So you trust no one. And then the 2 axes, your x-axis, I'm a math tutor, by the way, so this is why I kind of derail. But the x-axis, the horizontal plane, is going to be your analysis. So whether you're analyzing things low or high is going to influence how smart your trust is. And then the propensity trust. So whether you have a propensity to trust, what does that mean to you? Mom?
Propensity to trust?
Yeah, since it's your graphic, we'll throw it on.
Okay. I think I have a much higher propensity to trust probably than John does. So that's why it's good to have that in a company. But in terms of what that means, I trust everybody until proven otherwise, which, I am more likely to err on the side of trusting someone too much. Which is good and bad. But I think you have to start from that. I personally have to start from that perspective because I'm an optimist, and because in order to sell, which is my primary job with ABCI, is to sell our products and service and to help other people sell their products and services, you have to start from the point of view of we are all trying to accomplish the same thing, and we're all trying to do good for each other. And if I don't believe that, then I can't sell, or at least I'm not going to be as effective as a salesperson.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially for my situation, I'm in this group of some up and coming tutors. And one of the issues is we all need legitimacy. Anybody that we book our sales calls or consultations with, the potential student or potential client always thinks, is this guy a con artist? Like that's the first thing, right?
Yeah.
And so propensity to trust, if they never thought, is this guy a con artist, they'd probably be con. That's probably why they already have these ideas of like, this guy's going to try to take all my money and not give me anything in return. So I can see where that originates from, but I think you're right in saying that you have to come from kind of a place of blind faith to make any difference. Like, why would you ever try anything if you were sure that it wasn't going to work, right? So I think that's a good point. Anybody else have any thoughts on this?
I do.
Good.
I do.
Awesome.
I was going to say, so
I knew you would.
propensity is a tendency to do something, and naturally I will trust people because it's in my nature to trust people, but experience has taught me to actually trust nobody and to actually be careful, especially when you're paddling your own canoe like I am, it's surprising the people that you have in your gut, that you say that guy's a crook, well, that gal's a crook, turns out to be very trustworthy, and the people that come across and you think, boy, these are upstanding pillars of the community, I can rely on them, turn out to be real dirtbags. So the reality is, my natural instinct is to trust, but I've retrained myself to trust nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Trust but verify.
Yeah, exactly.
That's more where I come from. I am from New York City originally.
Oh, heavens.
And I absolutely, that colors this for me. I mean, I don't distrust people immediately. I just check them out before I trust them.
Yeah, somebody once said that there's so much good in the worst of us, and so much bad, and so much bad in the best of us. It's hard to tell which of us ought to reform the rest of us.
Exactly. Well, I will be more likely to give everyone a chance, but I've definitely checked them out before I trust them.
And when it comes to money, I use the 1 strike rule, not the 3 strike rule. You stiff me, then tough.
You're on the list.
Exactly. You're on the list.
Yeah. No, I mean, you have it coming at that point with how small the world is nowadays. Like, if you start on a bad foot, you're going to be kicked out of business quick, and you kind of have that coming.
Yeah, we'll all tell each other.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, you'll never find a client again, just because everybody has that tendency to verify, right? Like me personally, I'm looking for a wedding planner. I'm getting married next year, and so first thing, Yelp, right? Like there's a list of X wedding planners that we think we like, and we Yelp, right? And if they have anything less than 5 stars, which is insane, right? Like if everybody has 5 stars, that means they probably gave away more than they should have at some point. Yes. If you have 77 reviews and you have 5 stars, you worked hard to get there. You probably gave up more than you should have at some point. And that's almost the cost of doing business nowadays with how transparent things are and how you can look into people. So Jeremy, I think you had a really good point as far as, I want to trust people, but I need to see what they got first. And then the 1 strike rule, that's so true with the way things are nowadays. So good stuff. Let's move on. We'll talk different religions respect. I've heard this story from John so many times, but it's true. It's true. If somebody says they're going, if you, you say it best because you're well versed. But the thing is if you're going to treat someone the way you want to be treated, there's a chance that they're not going to like that, and you can speak to that with the best of them.
No. I mean, because when I was a kid, I was into religion so bad because of my grandparents and my parents until one day when I was 16 and I was just finishing another 4 or 6 week course in Bible training in the summertime, and the realization hit me that it's all bullshit. My perspective on religion. It gives structure. If that's what you need, fine. But with respect to all the rest of it, you can use it as a guide. But that's just me. And this is just one of the items. I mean, why would I treat somebody else the way I want to be treated? And Paula brought that out. That's just not right. So the way you get, and the prof asked me, he said, well, how do you know how people want to be treated? I said, you talk to them, you communicate, and during your discussion, you figure out what they are, how they want to be treated, and do your best to do that. So that's all.
I have another thought about that.
You're raising her hand.
Exactly. Mr. Moderator, if I could interject. There is a tool called Crystal Knows, CrystalKnows. So, like Crystal, like the girl's name, knows. And it's a artificial intelligence tool that you can use on people's LinkedIn profile. And based on their word choice and other kinds of things. It tells you what it knows about that person, and you can actually ask it. It's got some little tools and things like that, but it's been fairly accurate. I did John, I did a couple of other people that we've been talking with. And it gives you some suggestions for how to phrase things. And it'll tell you, with this person, you're going to want to slow down and you're going to want to talk process. Or with this person, you're going to want to get straight into the financial details. And it gives you those suggestions based on what's in their LinkedIn profile. Now, I'm very suspicious, talking about trust, of artificial intelligence, but this is uncanny what we've seen so far with this thing. So we have no relationship to them or anything else. It's just if you want to know how someone wants to be treated, that is a potential clue, right? Before you talk to them for the first time.
And as a footnote to what I said, I separate religion and the spiritual. So to me, my relationship with the Supreme Being, whatever you or I determine that to be, is different. It's there, okay? But religion is something man put together and did it poorly, my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the religion part is pretty. It's in there, but it's quick. Like the idea is that everybody needs da 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 da,
Yep.
and they all agree on that sort of thing, which is kind of the idea, right? Is that as far as the crystal nose stuff goes, I think that's a great tool. Like if it is used for what you are saying it's used for, it's a way of doing what John says, which is treating people the way they want to be treated and not necessarily the way that you want to be treated.
Right.
And so, yeah, I think that's great. Jeremy, did you have something on that?
Oh, absolutely, I do. I think this whole business of treating people the way they want to be treated, or treating people the way you'd like to be treated, I think it's a misdirection. The reality is there's only one way to treat people until they wrong you, and that is with politeness, with respect, with empathy, and acceptance. The biggest thing that Christianity teaches me is you don't judge other people. And unfortunately, especially in modern life, where we're constantly inundated by electronic interruption, we're turning into these judgmental beings, which is irrelevant, and it's wrong. But from my perspective, you've got to have empathy, treat people with respect. And to me, the ultimate respect is going to the Middle East and eating chicken sausage and beef bacon. It's revolting, but I'll do it because that's what they eat. So there you go.
Yeah,
so,
been there, done that.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it really boils down to intolerance. And there's so much intolerance in this world. You just look at Facebook now. My God. I mean, if you use your crystal meth thing to analyze my profile, you're going to come up with assassin probably. But,
yeah.
I don't know. Artificial intelligence scares the bejesus out of me, to be honest. Anyway, I should shut up. Sorry.
No, that's great. That's great.
I think all of it comes down to putting yourself out there to build a relationship, to find out who the person is, to listen, to respond in a way that shows them that you've heard them. And, that's how you're going to do sales or, build marketing or anything, is to be there.
Yeah.
Larry. Hey, Larry.
Hey, Larry, I'm on the phone.
Hey, Larry.
That's why the door's closed.
No, I think you bring up a great point. Like, and one thing, like, we kind of got derailed with the religion because it is a religious aspect in the chapter. But the title of this chapter, and it comes from the 13 behaviors that build trust. And the title of this chapter is respect, right? The title of this chapter specifically isn't just one word. It is, what was it? Respect. Demonstrate respect, show respect, right? Because respect is a great idea. And I think knowing how to use it, like that demonstrate word, is so important, because the greatest intentions, right? Like, we all want to be respectful people. We all want to think that if we went to the Middle East that we'd eat whatever was given to us. But that's not always the case, right? Like I know that firsthand. We don't always deliver. We don't always do what we think we're going to do. We don't always demonstrate that respect. So I think that, showing your motives and being a respectful person in more ways than just being it, right? Showing that respect. So I think that's great. That the religion, the various religions saying that you should treat people as they want to be treated as a method of showing respect is a great segue into that respectful nature and demonstrating respect. But understanding beyond that you should treat them the way they want to be treated really allows us to demonstrate it further, right? We're not just showing them internally that we want to treat them this way. We are taking their ideas and treating them the way they want to be treated, which is they're showing that proper respect.
That works great in sales.
Yeah.
Making a connection that you would not be able to otherwise.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm in this sales step of my marketing program. And yeah, the first thing you want to do is listen, right? Like always listen. And that's another one of the trust building things is something listen. But yeah, you want to understand where they're coming from always, because you're going to have a better idea of what they need. Absolutely. So good stuff.
Mickey, you talk about, Debbie talks about it's a great thing in sales, and a lot of salespeople train themselves to be a mirror, and salesmanship is acting. You could be on the stage or in a movie. The key to being a successful salesperson appears to be not being yourself, which I think is the greatest mistake and greatest sin in sales, because if you're trying to be something you're not, you'll always come across as fake, false, and the worst kind of salesperson. I truly believe, and before you started this, before you came on, John was talking about being yourself, being genuine, and that's the most important thing of all. It's about having the ethics and the integrity to be who you truly are. And you know what? You're going to piss off several people, maybe a lot of people that they are potential purchasers, or they're at least people you'd like to sell to, because they just don't like you. Well, that's fine. That's life. But the reality is you're also going to gather and attract a much larger group of people that want to do business with you because they like who you are. So I think that's the greatest sin in all of these sales training books and manuals and videos and everything else. They want you to not be yourself, which is insane. I'm sorry. I just had to say that.
What's interesting about this, the 5 waves where you start with yourself, having no self, and take self-integrity, then it goes out from there. So they're not, this is,
Exactly right. Yeah, no, that it totally falls in line. Like what you guys are both saying completely falls in line with what this book is saying. Is the authenticity. Yeah, exactly. Right?
It's a good book. It's Franklin Covey.
Somebody needs to send him this book.
I try to send him books. He told me not to.
I don't want the books.
Well, cool. No, I mean, that's fine. Apparently he already got the knowledge, so
he does.
Who needs the book?
He's excused because he has the life experience, so he gets full credit for it.
You've read a lot of books already. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, but Mickey, do you remember the Make Your Bed speech? It was a graduation speech by a commander or an admiral or somebody. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah.
Where he says, make your bed, and because integrity with yourself and doing what you think you're going to do, and making sure, because that's the basis of, if you don't trust yourself, that's when you come across as shady, I think, and that's when you start acting like other people. So I can be considerate, and when I'm in Morocco visiting Mickey in the Peace Corps, I am not going to order bacon for breakfast because I don't want to embarrass him, and I don't want to insult his hosts or his host family. That doesn't mean I'm not being myself. So there's a line between, I think, knowing who your customer is and being a version of yourself that is in line with their preference is making them comfortable, I don't think that's necessarily dishonest.
It's respectful too.
Yeah.
Yeah, to do your research. Like if you're using your crystal ball before, if you're using that, it's respectful to say, I know I've used this and I've learned X about you. I mean, you probably don't want to reveal your sources as a salesman. But anyway, the idea is there, the intention is there, that you're doing your research. You don't necessarily have to be the perfect person that this person wants to buy from. Right. But you want to know what they want to know. It's like Debbie says, it's a respect thing.
And the greatest sales guy is the guy or girl that can sell a product the client needs, even if the client doesn't like them.
True that.
Mm-hmm.
True that.
Well, if they trust you to do the right thing for them, it doesn't matter if they like you.
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Trusting someone and liking someone are two different things sometimes.
Yeah. That's true. So let's go on. Let's go on to Jeremy's point. Distrust of employees and companies. I thought that was great. As long as are we all good with different religions and respect? Previous point. Everybody's good. We'll hit the thumbs. Sweet. So yeah, distrust of employees. I worked for a company like this. I was a purchaser for a glass company. The owner of the company, the guy who had the big office, was notoriously difficult. He took pride in how much of an ass he was. He would park in the handicap spot 5 days a week because he owned the building. It was ridiculous, absolutely terrible. And unfortunately, unfortunately or fortunately, he doesn't work there anymore. But at the time, yeah, it was a climate of distrust. Everybody was trying to cover their ass. Nobody was getting anything done. It was so much more important to have 6 points of association who failed before they get to you. And then as soon as they see your failure, you're projecting, right? So this is what the book calls a trust tax, right? This is something where you're pouring money into a company and it's not producing anything because all of your money is going into trust issues. So Jeremy, it was your point. If you want to start with a little more information on distrust of employees and how that works.
Well, I'm going to broaden that really because I do work for myself, and even when I think I've worked for one big company my entire life. One time. I mean, not my entire life working for a big company. I only worked for a big company for less than 2 years. And I didn't like it because the culture is counterintuitive to who I am. And I've always been very self-driven. It's very independent. And I thrive and do better if you just get the hell out of my way and let me get on with it. And I think that's a lot of the trouble that this country has, and all countries, but this country especially. We've seen corporate America evolve over time, and now I think corporate America has pretty much died a death, especially with COVID, with everyone working at home. The normal structure is gone. It's been turned on its head. So it is probably a good thing to see it be turned on its head. And people need to be trusted more, and they need to be more independent. I'm surprised at how many people that are in a career where they're basically riding along in the back seat or the passenger seat. They're actually not driving, even though it's their own career. It just blows my mind how subservient people are and how people need direction. But it's counterintuitive to who I am. But expanding that, the worst thing about corporate America, in my opinion, and I've observed it by coming from a different country and taking this country up as my chosen settling point, is the internal competition. It just blows my mind how a company sets up a division and ruling system, divide and conquer, whatever you want to call it, and they set up little tribes within the company that run their own little piece of the company, and they all forget that there's just one pot of money. And it's a collective action to keep on adding money to that pot instead of having individual pots. And you see it in the services. You have the Army Navy football game. You have police, firemen, and EMTs fighting each other. I mean, it's like, what is wrong with these people? Don't get it?
Fight with each other, Jeremy. Haven't you noticed that?
I don't get it. I just don't get it. So anyway, that's it. I'm sorry.
No, that's great. That's great.
Forgive me for spouting. I get pissed off a lot.
Interesting.
We need the fire, man. That's great. You're right. You're totally right. Yeah, you'll see that in my glass company. Perfect example. I worked at a glass company. We had IG, where people would put sheets of glass to make them thicker or whatever. And it was all about getting IG more money than cutting department. You know, they all wanted that preferential treatment. And it was always a competition. And it was never about the customer or the product or efficiency. It was never about any of that. And I mean, you make a good point. I just joined the military, and it's the same in the U.S. military. It's crazy. We're all servicemen, but we don't see it like that. So good stuff. Yeah. Anybody else have an example of internal competition?
The lost in that is long-range vision of success. Like, instead of just making your money now and cashing out, and then what happens 3 years from now or 5 years from now? Like, people don't always build for the future.
Yeah. And
when they're competing internally in the present.
Right. No, I think you're right. I think it's more short-sighted. I think it also speaks to Jeremy's point about people want to be subservient because they're just trying to pay the bills at the end of the month or whatever. And yeah, it's that short-sighted thing that you're saying, Debbie. That's exactly what it is. It's not about long-term planning.
Right. I think American culture adds a lot to that too, because, in this country, everything is driven by election cycles, which is 2 years or 4 years, and by, quarterly earnings reports, which are quarterly, or, the 24-hour news cycle. So Americans play a very short game to see if they're winning or not, right? And just about anything.
Or the dividend cycle, when your company is going to pay a dividend to their investors.
Yeah, so that's quarterly usually. And, but there are companies like in China and Japan where they have 1,000-year, 100-year, 1,000-year business plans. So they're very used to playing a long game. And, I think as people, we need to start playing the long game. And I think all 5 of us are pretty much unemployable by a large corporation because we play longer games than the companies we would work for. And that's
I've got us started. We now have a 5-year and a 10-year plan, and we're working on looking forward for beyond that. But you have to. I mean,
you need to work on that 100-year plan.
You have to get a vision of what's going to happen so that you can modify it. And you change it. I mean, everybody's got a 1-year plan, right? So you got a 1, 5, 10, and 100. And we were up to 10. And every year, well, actually, currently, every week we update. On Monday, we have a meeting and we update all that stuff. So once we get a little larger and can do some different things, then we'll probably drop that back to monthly update.
Well, we've got to adjust right now, so
yeah, especially this year.
Survive.
And plus, as long as rioters and looters don't kill us stone dead in the next 3 or 4 months, the reality is, I think it was 2006 or no, it wasn't. I'm sorry, that's wrong. It was, I think, 2010 or 11. There was a medical conference in Stockholm. Because I remember listening to an article on the radio all that time ago. Literally, they stated at that medical conference that the first person to live to 150 has already been born. And that was back in 2010. So to John's point, you have a 100-year plan. You might have to enact that, my friend.
You might need one, yes. Actually, the unrest actually might be a benefit for aviation.
Well, yeah, but it's
because people repulsive. Want to be safe, they'll pay more money to be safe.
It's repulsive. It's just, let's not even go there.
That's not.
it's a little explosive. It might be a little much for Stephen M.R. Covey right now. Let's jump over to Debbie Murphy with Jet Brokers, the 4 cores of credibility breakdown.
Let's see. In the 4, well, what's interesting is that's inside the 5 waves of trust.
Okay.
The trust.
Yeah, metaphors within metaphors.
4 cores of credibility.
Yeah, I mean, either one, it's your point. So however you want to run it.
Integrity, good intent, your credentials are excellent, and a good track record. But I think what I got out of that was just how, you've got to trust yourself to go out, get to the next level, and have people trust you. I don't really know how I apply that to the business. I mean, people need to trust us, or they won't, buy jet from us or allow us to help them. And my brother says, because I asked him about it, I'm like, tell me a point. You give them, share information with them that they can verify, so they learn that they can trust you. So you build the trust deliberately.
Yeah, they trust the person. I mean, companies are all made of people, so they learn to trust the person first.
Yes.
Right. If you've ever done business with a company like Mickey's Glass Company, you can feel that. If the people in that company don't trust each other, you can feel that when you're doing business with them and you've got somebody on the phone and he's like, well, let me see what I can do for you, but I'm going to have to, go the long way around with this or something, and they trust you more than they trust their partners and the rest of their company.
Yeah.
And that always sets off alarm bells for me because, I don't know if this person can deliver because I don't know if this company's behind him. And if there's a lot of discord there, I don't want to have anything to do with that. Right.
And our company is all about relationships. It's not a very big company. We have a weekly meeting now that we do on video chat, Jeremy.
Yay.
And, we build those relationships with each other too. And that's really important. Internally to not have discord with each other, but to be able to help each other.
That builds a totally different energy, and you can tell by working with you guys. I mean, I could tell when we were in St. Louis with you guys that you all like and trust each other. And, that I think exudes into your customers. They can feel that from you. So.
I kind of wish I was still at Jet Brokers so I could be part of your weekly Zoom conference call because, I'd wear a different hat every week.
I love being in conference calls. I'm totally.
Well, you have to wear a different hat to every book.
I love your hat. You have great hats. I just wear a scarf.
I can do that.
Hat thing.
Yay!
Scarf.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice. I love the props. Props to the props.
You have to pay attention though. What you look like my background, is not ideal, but kind of messy over there. It's not as neat as Paul is.
Builds credibility. It looks honest. It looks like, you do work there, which is more than I can say.
It's actually the home office. It's actually not all my stuff, but physical office space.
No,
you
that's great.
Authenticity.
I'm pretty good at that.
Right.
Yeah. I think with the 4 cores of credibility, I think it's great because you can, like you said, in regards to topics inside of topics, right? You can apply your 4 cores of incredibility, which there's 2 that are based in what you do and 2 that are based in how you do it. So one is like, let me see real quick. It was intent. Let's see. Integrity, intent, capabilities, and results. So integrity and intent is like who you are, and then your capabilities and your results is like what you produce. And that's one of the, I think, to Debbie's point, I think this is one of the most important ideas of this book, is that trust isn't built on, how they make me feel or how they look or, how trustworthy they smell, or what have you. But like, it's actually built on what the hell they do, like what they can actually get done. Kind of back to where Jeremy says, if they blow my money, they're out, 1 strike, right? If they don't deliver, you can't work with them. And I think that's something that's commonly ignored in trust discourse, right? Like, can we trust so-and-so? Oh, I don't know. They seem okay. but like, do they deliver? That's because that should be the question that's at the forefront of everybody's mind. You know, you would think, because integrity and intent, those are damn near impossible to measure. But the ability to deliver, you can see that for sure.
It's a binary thing.
But the ability to deliver is based on integrity, so that integrity is based on the fact that you do personally whatever you're supposed to do, whether anybody's watching or not.
Right.
You do that all the time in your life, then you're going to deliver.
Yeah.
They also talk about that as character and competence.
Mm.
Character and competence. So.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. Yeah, the character is, you know, what you do on your own as an individual, and then the competence is what you create, you know, or what you know. So, yeah, I think if you get those bases covered as an individual, and then if you can do that as a group, organization, squad, platoon, company, what have you, you're going to deliver much more results. And that's I think the premise of the book. That and the inverse, right? The trust taxes that they mentioned, trust dividends and trust taxes. So
Yes.
good stuff. Nice. I liked it.
Looks like he's in a stormy mood. It's like
Yeah, right. You left the jet.
Yeah, I went honest for a little bit. I actually had my real background in my little office here in Waterloo, Illinois, but then I went to Manhattan to the top of the Empire State Building, and quite frankly, I think this is where I really belong. Right
There
there.
you go.
Yes.
big can of water.
Yeah, I think we all belong there.
I go there.
I love Zoom's background.
The eagle has landed. Definitely.
Right. Exactly. Sorry.
Good.
Well, it's a good book, and it's a good topic for our aviation business discussion. How we do business with each other, who we'll trust.
Yeah.
Within the company, not just customers.
Yeah. No, I think that was the best point to kind of land on. Was the basic. That's kind of the nuts and bolts of how the book runs. So we'll wrap it up here. So we'll just do outros, your name, your business, and then thanks for coming. Good work, everybody. So my name is Mickey Gaminal. I'm with Gaminal Tutors.
And a pitch, if you want. Your 15-second sales pitch. Yeah.
A sales
Good place
pitch.
to practice, right?
My name is Mickey Gaminal. I'm with Gaminal Tutors, and I'm launching the ASVAB Domination Program. So if you or anybody you know is trying to get into the military and needs to boost their score to get that high-level job, I got the program for you. Let me know.
Paula Williams, ABCI. We help aviation companies sell more of their products and services.
John Williams, I'm the guy that runs the money for her.
Jeremy Cox, principal of JetValues Jeremy. I specialize in appraising off-book aircraft. And what I mean by that is aircraft that are not covered by any price guide. But I also appraise anything that flies. Love appraising. I have a passion for it. And I love my life. So that's it. www.jetvaluesjeremy.com. Come visit.
Oh, yeah.
I am Debbie Murphy, VP of Marketing for Jet Brokers. We help people buy and sell jets. Visit us at jetbrokers.com.
Nice.
Well done.
Cool.
Oh, that was fun. I think we should, wear a different hat every time.
We get a few more backgrounds. Those aviation backgrounds are good.
There you go. And Debbie, you can wear a different scarf every time.
Right.
I'm trying to bring Mel in. I don't know. I don't think you guys saw Mel, but I got my buddy here. I don't know if he was in the picture, but like
He was in the picture.
He was in the picture last time too.
Yeah,
Excellent
cool.
when I'm done with you. It's good.
You can introduce him.
Everybody.
Yeah.
So, Mickey, Lilana and some of the other hula girls, you ought to make it your signature that whatever your sexless artist dummy thing is you should dress it for every Zoom meeting.
I
So
think,
it's something different every time. Wouldn't that be cool?
yeah, I got some tissues right here. I can make
There
it
you
happen.
go. Yeah, dress it. It's different clothing every time.
You could do like a Greek toga or I mean, all kinds of things.
Yeah, and also think of all the positions you can put him in. I mean, he could be doing the running thing. He could be doing the down dog. I mean, he could be doing any kind of thing. Wouldn't that be awesome? Every time. And you don't say anything about it. You just have, he's posed in a different way every Zoom. And people will start thinking, hey, I got to watch Mickey because I know what his little funny guy's going to be doing.
That's right. That's right.
That's
Cool.
fantastic.
Well, Jeremy, I'm gonna have to add you, and happy birthday to Debbie just recently. So,
Oh, yeah. I had the big,
Nope.
I'm not going to say how old I am.
hey man, it's better than the alternative.
Oh, I'm happy to be alive. I'm just not going to broadcast. Plus the internet.
Understood. Great. Well, thanks, guys. This was really, really fun. And there is next week is Mickey. Do you know what is next week? I don't remember.
Yeah. So the next one, you don't have a book. It's a marketing tool. So go ahead and whatever marketing tool you use. I'm thinking either ManyChat or ConvertKit. I'm learning about all these new tools lately, so I don't know what I'll end up using. But if you have a marketing tool, I mean, even if it's like Google Spreadsheets or Excel, like whatever you use to get business done, and you want to sing their praises, that's gonna happen in 2 weeks from now.
Okay.
Nice.
Sounds good.
Nice to see y'all again.
Bye-bye.
Stay safe and stay healthy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.